Understanding the technology that powers the money is essential. Knowing the business drivers that inspire how the money is made is crucial. Bridging the gap between the mind of the technologist and the mind of the business is monumental. That is what TBF is all about. Let's start this never-ending conversation. It's time.
Happy Friday, everyone. We're back for another episode of Tech Behind FinTech. I'm your host, Nnamdi Osuagwu. Today, we are going to be talking about how B2B2X is transforming the FinTech market. Really interesting stuff. B2B2X stands for business to business X. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the news of the week. It's going to go into really one article around cybersecurity that I found extremely interesting, impacting Americans in terms of the latest breach. We're going to touch base on that. Before I kick it off, let's just do some housekeeping. We are streaming live from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. Our website is at techbehindfintech.com. We also have a live stream going from IG. It doesn't integrate with the platform that we use, so we have that going, some behind the scenes stuff. So on IG, if you have some questions, we're at techbehindfintech.com. You can look at our YouTube channel and you'll see the latest link, the latest live link if you want to be added to the show. If not, you can ask your questions directly on IG. For everyone else, if you have questions, comments on the topics that we are discussing, and if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, feel free to state your question. I'll make you part of the show in terms of adding your question to the screen. Always great to be here. This topic I found is very interesting, but like I said, before we hop into the topic, let's discuss the news of the week. All right, so this just happened. Millions of Americans' personal data exposed in global hack. So millions of people in Louisiana and Oregon have had their data compromised in a cyber attack that also hit the U.S. federal government state agencies late Thursday. So this is late breaking. Literally just found out about this before the show and wanted to briefly talk about it before we get into the main topic of the day. So the breach impacted 3.5 million Oregonians with driver licenses or state ID cards, and anyone with that documentation, the Louisiana authorities said. The Louisiana governor office did not put a number on the number of victims, but over 3 million Louisianians hold state driver's licenses according to a public data. So it looked like a vulnerability was compromised in software. So Progress Software, the U.S. firm that makes the software exploited by the hackers, said it had discovered a second vulnerability in the code that the company was working to fix. Clop, the ransomware gang allegedly responsible, is known to demand multi-million-dollar ransoms, but no ransom demands have been made of the federal agencies, a senior official said. So no ransom demands. The data is not on the dark web as of yet. They just know it's been breached. So this is late breaking. So I'm sure as the days and a week progress, we'll get some more information. Just wanted to talk about that briefly before heading into the main topic of the day, which is B2B2X. So let's get into it. So recently I was reading a white paper report from the Boston Consulting Group. The report is called Global FinTech 2023, Reimagining the Future of Finance. There's interesting stats in this report, but I wanted to talk about B2B2X because I don't think it's something that, or a term that many are familiar with. Even in while reading the article, I didn't hear that term. I understand the business model. That was my first time actually hearing that term. So I said, you know what? My team and I said, let's make a show of it. Let's briefly dive into it, give some interesting stats, explain how it's transforming FinTech, and see if there's any questions. And then, add it to one of the many topics that we have discovered. So before we get into B2B2X, some interesting stats from the article. Number one, FinTech is projected to become a 1.5 trillion industry, 1.5 trillion dollars industry by 2030. APAC, Asia Pacific, is poised to outpace the US, becoming the world's largest fintech market by 2030. Another interesting stat from the report, B2B2X, business to business X, is expected in the fintech market is expected to grow at an annual growth compound annual rate. They abbreviated CAGR to reach $440 billion in annual revenue by 2030, supported by growth of embedded finance and financial infrastructure. So, interesting stuff. That's like a third, right? If fintech is projected to be $1.5 trillion industry, and B2B2X is going to be 440 billion of that by 2030, it's a significant part of that market. So it's worth diving into, worth understanding what it is, and so forth. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So what is business to business to X, right? So it involves, it's a business model that involves one company. We call that company X, and we'll give some real life examples. And then it leverages another company's B2B products or services to provide value-adding solutions to the end customers of X. So in let's look at a real live use case, just to make it a little bit clear with that definition. Searching for something that can make it clearer. So, perfect example. Let's take fintech. We're going to go over this. I have some slides that I want to go over, but a use case to bring that definition. Remember, company X leveraging the business to business model of another company. So if we look at it from the perspective of a fintech lending platform collaborating with a bank. So let's say a platform, they had a company called Lending Club, right? And they partner with a traditional bank to expand the bank's lending capabilities. So you have Lending Club, which is a fintech, partnering with a bank, targeting those banking end customers with their service. So the bank is basically leveraging the business to business service for their end customers. So in that scenario, the bank is company X. The end customers are the customers of company X. And the business to business, the B2B solution, product or service is coming from Lending Club. So that's how that scenario works out. Give me some comments, probably some questions. So I'm just gonna let me just make sure there are questions. There's no questions as of now. If you have any questions with that scenario, let me know. So once again, we're talking about B2B2X, where company X is leveraging another company's B2B solution for their end customers, and that is the term. So let's get into how it's transforming, and we're going to get into some use cases. Second. All right, cool. Let's jump into some use cases. So we have on the payment processor side. So a payment processor partnering with an e-commerce platform. So if we look at Stripe or PayPal, they have partnerships with e-commerce platforms like Shopify. Perfect, right? So let's think about it. In this case, right? So if you're talking about B2B2X, Shopify will be the X, leveraging the B2B service or solution from Stripe or PayPal, right? So the collaboration allows the e-commerce platform to offer integrated payment solutions to their merchants, enhancing the checkout process and facilitating secure online transactions. So in this scenario, the end customer is actually the merchants that leverage Shopify for their online stores. The B2B solution is coming from Stripe or PayPal. The X in that scenario is Shopify. Once again, if you have any questions, let's dive into it. You know, I'll be totally transparent. I just got into this term this week, that's why I said let's make a show from it. So I wanted to wrap my head around it. It seemed pretty interesting, and the fact that it's going to be a third of the fintech market by 2020 in terms of revenue size, I think it's significant. I think it's valuable to talk about. All right, so we already did the use case and definition of the lending platform, right? So we have like the lending club. They're partnering with banks or collaborating with banks. So in this scenario, as we mentioned, right, the bank is X. So you have, so let's say they're partnering with a regional. Let's just use one of the banks the bigger banks that we know, like Bank of America or Chase, hypothetically, or even a community bank or different banks like that, like SunTrust or any bank. The bank in that scenario, in the B2B2X model, the bank is X. The bank's end customers, it's because service is going to be provided to the end customers, and the solution, the B2B solution, is coming from Lending Club. It's another example. We have some more use cases. Let's go into another use case. So we have digital wallets, right? So now we've heard of digital wallet providers like Apple Pay or Google Pay, and they integrate their services with ride-sharing platforms like Uber or Lyft, right? So, and this integration allows the users to make seamless and secure payments for their rides through the digital wallet. So, what's the B2B 2X? What are the different? What does it equal, right? These the B2B 2X is like a variable formula, right? What does it equal? So in this scenario, right, X will be Uber or Lyft, right? And the service is enhancing, is providing services for Uber or Lyft's end customers, right? So in this scenario, the B2B solution is coming from Apple Pay or Google Pay, right? And it's allowing the seamless payment. So you can do Apple Pay, Google Pay. So if you're an end customer in this scenario, right, you can now use your Apple Pay or Google Pay within your Uber application or Lyft application, and it's making your payment solution easier. And that's what it said earlier, the definition where in the market growth, right, embedded finance. That's an example of it. Another use case we can dive into, InsurTech. So in this scenario, InsurTech, so insurance technology companies partnering with traditional insurance brokers. So the InsurTech startups collaborate with the brokers to offer innovative insurance products and services. This partnership combines a technology-driven approach of the InsurTech companies with the distribution network and expertise of the insurance brokers, resulting in improved insurance offerings and customer experiences. So in that scenario, once again, going back to the B2B2X model, business to business 2X, X is the insurance broker, right? The end customers are the insurance brokers distribution network and their customers. And the B2B solution is coming from the InsurTech startup. So I hope you understand that. Hold on, let's see. I don't see any questions so far. And so it's pretty interesting stuff. And let's dive into how. Hold up, we have a question. Oh, my guy, Chiagosi Iwu, friend of the show and one of our most consistent guests. Actually, you have to get you back on the show, my friend. Okay, let's see what his question is. Do you see B2B2X products being used in the cybersecurity industry ever? That is one to think about. Let's think about it though, right? That's an interesting question, but I like it. I like where it's going. But let's dive into it. How would that work? So it has to be a business to business solution. X will be the bigger company, and the end customers will be from X's. So if we think about it, let's think about it from the perspective of a cybersecurity startup providing some. This is all up. I'm talking about this on the fly, so we're thinking through it in like literal real time, right? So let's look at it, and then the reason I say startup because they tend to have the more innovative solutions that they're trying to embed in a bigger organization, leveraging the end consumers or customers from that bigger organization. So if we look at it from a cybersecurity perspective, there has to be X will be some big organization, some large organization with a good array of customers, right? Because that's the whole point. Now, the B2B solution, right? If we're thinking about it, and this is just me talking off the fly. I can see a scenario based on a definition in which my grad advisors would probably be upset at me talking about this because it seems this could be a potential idea, but like I said, this is what we do. There's a large language model company I can see, right? And so that everybody talks about the chat GPTs of the world and everything like that. Some innovative security solution startup. The large language models company or the AI-driven company has a ton of customers. Now, the security solution gets embedded in this AI solution to deliver value to the end customers, which can be consumers or businesses in some way, shape, or fashion. Yes, I can see it happen. And that's just one use case, right? It could be it's a plethora of use cases we can explore. But if you're asking me the question on the fly for me to think about, it can happen in really any vertical, right? It could happen in, obviously, we just talked about FinTech. We just gave a scenario for cybersecurity, possibly. And it's very different. And we could explore various scenarios in cybersecurity. I just chose like some AI large language model because that's what's popping right now in the industry. Everybody's talking about something like that. But we can also think about other scenarios around threat intelligence. There's some things that could be explored there. So yes, to answer your question. But if you think about a different vertical, even healthcare, right? You have a health tech solution, health technology solution, some startup. You have some major insurance network or major a hospital with various facilities, and the end users in that case will be patients. And some healthcare solution is now being integrated into the hospital to provide a better enhanced services for those patients. So the B2B2X model can work in various verticals. We're just talking about FinTech right now, but brilliant question. It kind of had me thinking for a bit. I like it. I like where you're like where the question went. It was good for good conversation as well. Thanks always. Look, we always appreciate your questions, comments. If you have expertise in this and want to add something, greatly appreciate it. Add to the discussion. So thank you for that. Appreciate you. All right, let's last use case, robo-advisors. So advisory platforms such as Betterment partnering with traditional financial institutions like banks or wealth management firms. This collaboration enables institutions to offer automated investment advisory service to their clients. So in that scenario, the financial institution like the bank or the wealth management firm is X, right? The robo-advisor, like Betterment, they're providing a B2B solution. The customers are X's customers. So it's the customers of the bank or wealth management solution. That was the last use case. So before we hop on, taking a mid-show break. So what we're doing right now is we're supporting the fintech industry. So we reached out to some fintechs in our network, and we're giving them some free profile advertising. So, company of the week. What does Expediente Azul do? So Azul automates the document gathering process for large loans that require the customer sending 10 to 40 documents by reducing the friction caused by missing, incorrect, or outdated documents sent by the customer, speeding up KYC, know your customer process by 3x and reducing abandonment by 2x. They're currently serving over 100 financial institutions in the LATAM market, Latin American market, Caribbean, and CSIA market. So why Expediente Azul, Azul? Startup Innovator of the Year 2023 award obtained during the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January. Fully customizable checklist makes it adaptable to every geography with unstandardized data gathering needs, unlike the USA, for example, and a non-linear process since no customer has the 40 documents at hand when the bank asks for them. Expediente Azul, Azul is our featured company of the week. All right. So let's now move on to how B2B2X is transforming FinTech. Okay. So B2B2X encourages collaboration between FinTech companies and traditional financial institutions, enabling them to combine their strengths and deliver innovative solutions. This collaboration can lead to improved efficiency, increased access to financial services, and enhanced customer experiences. So the first one, enhanced collaboration, right? Next one, expanded reach. So by partnering with other businesses and industries, right? We're talking about FinTech in particular. We just gave examples before with Chigothi's question that it could apply to various verticals as B2B2X model. You really think through it. FinTech companies can tap into new customer segments or markets that they might not have been able to reach on their own. This expansion of reach enables broader adoption of FinTech solution and drives financial inclusion. Let's go to some other ones. Customized offerings. So B2B2X allows FinTech companies to tailor their products or services to the specific needs of their partner businesses and their end customers. This customization enables more personalized and targeted financial solutions, resulting in greater customer satisfaction. I mean, think about it, right? Usually this bigger company may not have time for this solution that this startup has, but now because of the integration, their customers have access to it. So it's customized offerings. Another way is transforming. Value chain optimization. B2B2X facilitates the optimization of the financial value chain by integrating different stakeholders and streamlining processes. This can lead to cost savings, increased operational efficiency, and faster delivery of financial services. Innovation catalyst. Last one. Through B2B2X partnerships, FinTech companies can leverage the expertise, resources, and customer base of established businesses. This collaboration acts as a catalyst for innovation, enabling development of cutting-edge technologies, products, and services that drive the evolution of the FinTech industry. So, pretty interesting stuff. It's one of those terms that my team and I, we talked about it this week. I mean, we've seen the model. Didn't hear, heard the term, brother. What is that? So it's not necessarily a totally new business model by any stretch of the imagination. Like these integrations have been going on. Interesting with the stat by 2030, it's going to be like 25% of the entire FinTech market, like close to. If you look at the FinTech market being $1.5 trillion in terms of growth by then, and you look at the B2B2X being $440 billion, so I think it's significant. And what's going to be also interesting are new startups providing that service, right? Integrating into these firms, providing these B2B solutions that their end customers, or, well, you know what, it's the end customers leveraging that. Because if not, then it'll just be a B2B solution between businesses. But the end customer is the important aspect, because you have startups obviously providing B2B solutions, direct solutions to these companies. That's just the B2B solution. But now when you look at it, when they're actually impacting the end customers, that's when the B2B2X takes an effect. Let me be the rain behind me, but it's like dumping right now. Yeah, so that is pretty interesting stuff. Before we move on, we have to give a message from our sponsors. This show is sponsored by Strategic Generation, offering cybersecurity, sales, and enablement services, meaning they deal with SOC 2 services and penetration testing, and an expedited due diligence process for your business leads, partners, and prospects. Strategic Generation, Cybersecurity, Partner, and Sales Enablement. You can find them at strategicgeneration.com. Thank you for the sponsorship. All right, so moving on right now, that really is the topic for the show. That really concludes the show with our B2B2X. Like I said, it was one of those things we talked about this week. We wanted to make a show about it, add it to our history, our catalog. So this is just one more topic that we discussed. If you didn't understand what B2B2X is before the show, I hope you gained an understanding for it throughout the show, like we did in researching this show and preparing it for you guys. That's it. Every Friday, we'll be back to you at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live, Tech Behind FinTech. Once again, you can find us at the techbehindfintech.com. If you want to look at previous episodes, they are all posted. We've been at this for quite a few years. This is our 130th episode. So if you're first time tuning into the show, you have a lot of hours to catch up. If you have been a frequent viewer of the show, we thank you very much and look forward to your comments, your DMs, suggestions, and our future guests for the show and interesting topics. Also, if you want us to discuss a topic that we have not, but you're interested in hearing us discuss it, shoot us an email, shoot us a kite. Let us know. You can find me on LinkedIn, also on the techbehindfintech.com. We have our contact information there. If there's a topic you want to discuss, or if you are a prospective guest with an interesting topic around fintech technology, or anything impacting the fintech market from a cybersecurity side, from a startup side, we're totally open for interesting conversations. Okay. Also on Instagram, thank you very much for tuning in. I see all you guys. I'm going to do the whole wave thing. And that concludes our show from the day. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Cheers.
Understanding the technology that powers the money is essential. Knowing the business drivers that inspire how the money is made is crucial. Bridging the gap between the mind of the technologist and the mind of the business is monumental. That is what TBF is all about. Let's start this never-ending conversation. It's time.